Hi, I'm Arthur Benjamin. Welcome back to The Love of Dogs. I'm here again with my lovely co-host, Farah White, and we're here with a lady today with another great story from the city of Dallas and Fort Worth, the cities of Dallas and Fort Worth, to tell you about a woman who's been working for years and years and years and years to stem the pet population, reduce euthanasia through spay and neuter.
Yeah, absolutely. Elaine Munch is here with us today, and she runs the Metroplex Animal Coalition and has been doing good for North Texas for over 40 years. We are so excited to have you with us today on the show.
Thank you. Very glad to be here today.
And who do you have with you?
Which munchkin do you have with you?
Well, this is Jordy Munch, and he is a little munchkin. He's a rescue dog from the streets of Dallas, and we're thrilled to have adopted him and have him in our home.
So I remember you telling me that when you got him, he had a broken hip and a broken leg, and he's a rescue failure. Can you tell us a little bit about?
Foster failure. That means that when you foster a dog toward adoption to put him into a new home, new family, and you get too attached to him, then you keep him and adopt him yourself. So that's a foster failure.
So you're the rescue failure.
Yeah,
you're the foster
I'm the failure, not him. He's done wonderfully well, but he did have a broken hip and broken leg. These poor little Chihuahuas are so delicate. These little bones and little paws are very, very delicate, and people don't realize it. And they're very strong and very outgoing, and so I think sometimes they act stronger than they are and get into trouble like that. And he was a little black dog out on a dark Dallas street, and he got hit by a car apparently. So we're just so glad someone found him and brought him to us.
He's so lucky he made it through that experience.
Absolutely.
And now I'm glad I know that I'm a failure too, because Bandit is a foster failure.
That's the one failure that's a pretty good thing, actually.
That's kind of funny. We could form a community.
We could.
Foster Failures Anonymous.
That's right.
Exactly. I think it'd be a big membership.
FFA.
Yes, absolutely.
That's funny. Well, tell us, while we're speaking, because FFA, MAC, tell us the history of the Metroplex Animal Coalition.
Glad to. MAC was formed in the year 2000. A number of rescue groups wanted to come together to discuss what to do about the continuing pet overpopulation. And there were a number of foundations that had been formed at that time to talk about spaying and neutering and adoption equations that would help to change that paradigm. So we got together and talked in 2000 with facilitators, and we all agreed that even though a lot of different rescue groups have different ways of doing things, that we would work together as a coalition to try to come together and solve that common problem. And in the year 2002, we began our spay-neuter program. We decided to do spay and neuter because we thought it was the one thing that all those different rescue groups couldn't afford or didn't have the time to take on themselves. That MAC as a coalition could focus on spay and neuter, and that would bring a lot of extra value to the rescue groups and to the community. There was not a free citywide spay-neuter program at that time for low-income families.
So is it completely free?
It is completely free to those who need it. We do require that you self-identify as low-income family and that you couldn't afford the surgery if we didn't offer it to you to qualify. That's the only requirement.
Well, that's actually pretty amazing that people can do that.
I mean, I thought when we were talking with SPCA a week or two ago, I remember they saying they were going to do one for $20 or $25 coming up for the low end. This is free.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of organizations have a copay, and for the new program that I think you're referring to, the Big Fix for Big D.
That's it.
Yes, of which MAC, the SPCA, and Kaufman County Animal Awareness Project are members. Those other two organizations do a $20 copay. They run spay-neuter clinics, but MAC focuses on specifically certain target zip codes in the city of Dallas, and we want to reach out to those who really, really need the help and for whom finding $20 when the price of gasoline and the price of groceries and the price of rent and everything is so large for them, we want to really help them to be responsible pet owners too. So we don't do the volume that the SPCA and other organizations do, but we feel a real critical need. We like to think we're a safety net in our community for low-income families.
And it costs about probably an average of $80 to $120 to do a spay or a neuter, depending on the difficulties. So even at $20, it's an incredible bargain, and people should take advantage of it while it's there if they really have the need.
Absolutely.
But how great that your organization is doing it completely free, because if someone, you're right, does have a $20 surplus right now, they're going to spend that on, let's see, food for my kids or spay my pet.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's nice that you're removing that obstacle.
Well, and most of these people are truly want to do the right thing, but simply don't have the wherewithal to do it.
Yeah, sure. How many animals do you think you've helped since you started?
We have spayed and neutered about 18,000 animals in the 8 years that we have been in operation. We started in 2002, and at this point, it's probably a little over 18,000. We've had a number of grants, the state of Texas Animal Friendly License Plate Grant. We've been a recipient of that almost the entire time it's been in existence. And many other foundations and groups have donated to us, so we're very, very lucky. We've been able to do that continually, and we have restricted it to the city of Dallas because we can't do spay and neuter with the current funding in larger areas. But as soon as we feel we get a grasp on the pet overpopulation in Dallas, our goal, because we're the Metroplex Animal Coalition, would be to branch out to other areas.
Sure. Well, I imagine it's very hard to keep an organization like that running. What do you find to be some of the challenges that MAC faces for being successful?
Well, we're an all-volunteer organization, so most of us work and then do this because we love it and because we know it's so necessary. But our biggest challenge is finding those people who need the help. We can find money, not always enough at certain times, but finding the people is hard to do because a lot of people don't read the newspapers. They may watch television, but it's extremely expensive to advertise this kind of a service. So we work on a grassroots basis, and we have volunteers that go into the community. We let veterinarians all over the community know about our services. And everywhere we can, we attend little festivals or fairs or events to spread the word. We had an event this last February at Trinity Mission, which is over in West Dallas, and it's a wonderful place. And we gave out free spay-neuter coupons as well as leashes and food and various other things that people needed there. We had 75 people take advantage of our program that day, so it was very exciting. But those are the kinds of grassroots and people that we need to reach in order to help reach the people that need it.
How many volunteers are we speaking about?
How many volunteers for our organization?
Yes.
We have about 50 MAC member groups, and at any given time on a project, you know, any given project, we may have, 10 or 20 people that will come out and help us. But that's part of why the coalition is so wonderful, is we can call on those different groups, and we don't really have, a handful of maybe full-time volunteers, but it expands as need be when we put out a call for help.
So do you have a need for volunteers?
Always, always.
And we're going to tell people how to get in touch with you, but so they could volunteer directly for you rather than one of your partners
yes,
or for one of your partners.
Absolutely. We need people to help run our spay-neuter program. There is a lot of paperwork, a lot of data that has to be tracked. We need people to be at those events. We now, through the funding of the Big Fix for Big D, will be able to have a spay event at Dallas Animal Services once a month on a Saturday.
Wow.
So that people in various zip codes that need help will be able to come and have their pets not only vaccinated and spayed and neutered, but they will have a free city registration, because that is what the city of Dallas is donating for this project. That is part of their contribution to the Big Fix for Big D. So it's very exciting that people will be able to do all of that and be a responsible pet owner when they couldn't have been able to do it before. So it's a very, very exciting time for us.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Now, what other activities does MAC sponsor?
We have a couple of events each year. We spend most of our time on spay-neuter. It takes a lot of time, but we have two that we're very proud of. Wags and Waves, which is more fun than you'll ever have with your pet anywhere else, is a great event at the end of the summer season at a local water park. This year it's going to be September 15th at North Richland Hills NRH20. And it's at the end of the season when they close the park down, so that it's over for people to come to the park, and they throw it open to a nonprofit group. And people bring their dogs, they pay a fee, about a $20 fee to come, and it's one person and two dogs for the $20 fee. And it is an incredible amount of fun. It's just a blast. There are all kinds of activities. There's a wave pool, which is great, and the dogs, jump and play. And there's costume contests, which, as you can see, there's the dogs dressed up and having a great time. And it raises money for the MAC member groups and for the spay neuter program. But it is, like I said, the best time you can possibly have with your dog.
So that's Wags and Waves. And you have one other that you were going to talk
We
about?
have one other, which is called Real Men Care. We had a spay neuter campaign called Real Men Neuter. And the Real Men Care is an offshoot of that. We decided to pick some community leaders that were very outstanding men in the community that needed to be honored. And you might say, well, why men, not women? Well, we feel that, we want to encourage a lot of young men to come into this work. We've always had a lot of women in the work, but like yourself, Arthur, we need more men to be involved in this, and we congratulate you on what you've done.
Thank you.
But our bus poster campaign started with the Real Men Neuter campaign, and then the offshoot became Real Men Care. And we've had our second year in May. We had it just recently, and we honored a number of local leaders. It has been received so warmly. I mean, the women love it more than the men. They go crazy over it. We have so many women in attendance because they love to honor and praise these great men who love animals.
Well, it's really amazing that as you were talking about that, right behind you, there's a poster of a soldier greeting his dog, and that guy he was big. He looks smaller there. He was a really big guy. When he saw his dog after a year from Afghanistan, he went to pieces, as did most of the others, but it was a great shot while you were talking about it.
Yes.
Our viewers can see it
And
right
I think
behind
I've
you
seen
now.
that shot in your magazine. It's absolutely wonderful. But those are the kind of people that we are honoring, because it's very important to recognize the work that men do in our community as well as women. But it is also important, we think, to celebrate the good that's done. We hear so much bad news, and so we want an opportunity once a year to offer everyone to come out and really celebrate those successes, so that then we're ready for the next round of whatever we need to do to correct the wrongs in our community.
What are the biggest changes that you've seen in the last 10, 12 years? Since you came on the scene, there's been a difference.
There has been a huge difference. Probably the largest difference is that we now are able to go to our city leadership, City Hall, and talk to people about animal issues, animal welfare, animal cruelty, and we're taken very seriously. Because of our coalition, we speak with a very loud voice, 50-member groups, thousands and thousands of members in those groups. And when we have launched writing campaigns or email campaigns to our city leadership, they've had to take it very seriously because it's a huge outpouring. And we've had on our Dallas City Council and our Dallas County Commission leaders who really recognize that animal cruelty is just the beginning, and then it goes to human cruelty. And so we've had a lot of support, but it hasn't always been that way. We enjoy right now, because we've communicated to our leadership that we absolutely have to improve the lot of animals in our city. It's bad business to spend $8 million a year to kill 75–80% of the animals at the city animal shelter. And we have started to increase that live release rate at the shelter dramatically with new leadership that we have at the shelter. But the city's support, the city leadership, and the city understanding that our problem is a valid one and one that we need to take seriously is probably the biggest change I've seen in the last decade.
And that's also a major accomplishment.
Well, thank you. It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's taken a lot of people doing that, a lot of groups. That's the power of our coalition. And it's not one person or even one small group of people. It's a lot of people working, writing letters, rescuing, giving up their weekends, their evenings, everything to make this impact in the community, to help the animals, and to send a strong message.
Well, look at that little baby in your arms, and that's sort of the answer to all of
Exactly.
that. It's worth it.
It is absolutely worth it.
You know,
Absolutely.
He's an go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say he's an accomplishment, and clearly that is an accomplishment. What would you say some of your other accomplishments have been?
We, in 2008, MAC led the revision of the City of Dallas Animal Code, the ordinances that regulate the care of animals and how animals will be treated in our city. And at that time, we were able to get basically a mandatory spay-neuter ordinance passed through the council. We have an ordinance that tethering your dog is illegal, and the animal has to have a certain enclosure and a certain amount of space to roam, as well as a lot of other ordinances. The dangerous dog ordinance needed rewriting, a lot of different ordinances that we worked together to get. And they passed with the 100% success. All the ordinances we presented passed. It was very gratifying that the people on the city council did actually understand how important those ordinances were to the city. And we are working hard to spread the word on that. since the mandatory spay-neuter ordinance passed, we're able to talk to people about, why they should spay and neuter their animal for the right reasons. But then we've also a new program that we're going to incent them to say, if you will spay and neuter your pet today, or let us pick it up tomorrow and spay and neuter it, then you won't receive a fine for, having your animal intact in the city, and you won't have to register for having an intact animal. So we're taking that approach of incenting people so that we can educate them and help them to do the right thing.
One of the hardest things to do is form a coalition in this world, because there's such a scarcity mentality of there's just so much money, and
right.
If I work with another group, they're going to get the money. And
exactly.
You have been so successful at working with groups. I think about Scotland Hazley and Animal Rescue Corps and the work you've done with him and other large organizations. Do you have any comments on that? Do you have any feelings?
Well, it is hard to form a coalition, but as you said, you have to keep these creatures in mind. And we all have that common cause. And at the end of the day, you don't have to like someone to work with them. You just have to work toward that common goal. And we've continued to go back to that. And I think that's why groups like the Animal Rescue Corps are successful too. They keep that common goal in mind. Scotland and all of his volunteers, many of whom are here in Dallas. Christina Bowman, who's one of his board members, is here in Dallas. And they are so supportive. They've come here and done a lot of puppy mill busts where they go in and take out, these animals in puppy mills and rescue them. And they have kept that goal in mind too. I think Scotland had formed this part of the work because this is what he truly loves. These are the most desperate animals that need help, probably the most. And he focuses on that, as do his volunteers. They try to focus on the right things and not get in the way of any other group, not take credit for any other group's work. They just continue to focus on what they do, and they're very collaborative. They work with many groups when they go into the communities. So that's really, no matter who you are, if you work in a collaborative spirit, be it nationwide or be it in a local community like Dallas, it is much more successful.
Well, we're going to talk about Animal Rescue Corps after the break. And
that's great.
And some rescues they've recently done. But the need in the city of Dallas is so great because the euthanasia rate was so high for a city of this size, and people do care about their animals here, probably more so than they do about, I've never been in a more friendly dog city. Their apartment houses have dog parks.
You're right.
Restaurants allow the dogs in the outside areas. Yeah. And people generally respond very well to dogs being around unless they're aggressive. So it's a shame that we have this situation, but we're so grateful for what you're doing to change it, because it really does make a difference. I mean, it really has shown up.
Well, thank you. We are hopeful that over the next 3 years with the Big Fix for Big D program, in 3 years, we'll be spaying and neutering almost 18,000 animals, which took Mac about 8 years to do. We knew that we had to go into the Big Fix for Big D and make a big impact. If we can get ahead of that curve, that birth curve, then we will be able to really turn some things around in the city. We are, through the new leadership of Jody Jones with Dallas Animal Services, we've increased in the last year the live release rate by 7%. And that is huge in this community. That's many, many more animal lives saved. Our rescue groups are stepping up to take more animals in, and that in spite of the fact that there have been more animals impounded and more people turn animals in because of the bad economy. So if we're doing that well, despite all those odds, then I think we have made a very sound start. We just need to keep working together, keep getting funding, and keep these great programs in place and keep our city leadership on our side, and it'll be the perfect storm, and our community will be even better and even stronger, as you've said.
Well, it can be done.
It can be.
We've worked on it this way in other cities, and we have cities where the live return rate is now approaching or over 90%. And
absolutely.
And the euthanasia rate is below the legal no-kill at a city shelter. So it can be done here too.
It absolutely can, Arthur, and we need everyone's help to do it. And anyone who wants to volunteer in that cause, please get in touch with us, and we'd love to talk with you.
So yeah, absolutely. You heard that. You can find out more about the Metroplex Animal Coalition by logging on to their website, which is metroplexanimalcoalition.org. We want to thank you so much, Elaine, for being with us today and for doing the good work that you do, and please keep it going. So stay with us, and we'll be right back with For the Love of Dogs.
Thank you.
Welcome back to For the Love of Dogs. And while we were on our break, actually Bandit did something. You know, he's gotten pretty vocal lately, but we were thanking Elaine Munch for being here with us. And Bandit decided that the American Dog Rescue would be the title sponsor for Wags and Waves this year, which is on September 15th. Here's some photos. It looks like a really fun day. Bandit said that he wanted to take some swimming lessons, and Elaine said, sure, come on out. And then Bandit said, oh, well, American Dog Rescue will be the title sponsor. And there goes Arthur, having to make that happen, having to back Bandit up.
The bank is having a lot of problems with those paw prints at the bottom of the checks.
Bandit, he's just, but you know what? He's playing it forward.
Yes, he's playing it forward.
He is.
And he can't wait to get in an inner tube and float.
Right. That's
so that should be a lot. That should be a lot of fun.
Bandit, thank you,
September
Bandit.
15th.
Yes. You will
September 15th. North Richland Hills.
Yes, at the H2O. That's right.
And American Dog Rescue and Bandit. Say hi, Bandit. Come on, this is your one big chance. Say hi.
Yes.
Bandit will be there, and he's going to teach everybody to swim.
Yes, yeah. He's going to get some lessons, and then he's going to teach everybody. But that's after the water park has closed, so then they can open it up and
bring your kids, bring your dogs. Come on,
kids, bring your pets. How much fun is that? That looked like a heck of a lot of fun.
So it's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile cause.
Absolutely.
And we're there.
Thank you, Bandit, for doing that.
Thanks,
and
Bandit.
helping everybody.
So let's talk about something that's not so pleasant.
Okay.
I mean, we've talked in the past about puppy mill raids and how terrible the situations of the mamas are in puppy mills. And we talked on the earlier segment about Scotland Hazley, who used to work for the Humane Society of the United States and do a great job leading their animal rescue team, who founded Animal Rescue Corps and has been out doing puppy mill busts and hoarding cases. And over Memorial Day weekend, Scotland called me, and Kathy Bissell of the Bissell Pet Foundation and I split the raid on a puppy mill in Arizona where a bunch of large dogs were saved from conditions that, again, these are not on the table, but you can see they're
Look at that grass.
cages and they're unmowed grass and they're living in feces, and it actually looks better right there than the conditions were for many of those dogs. That's Scotland pulling that dog out right there. And then he followed up with this, and we shared a rescue yesterday from a hoarding case in Montreal, Canada, where 18 dogs were in deplorable conditions and were pulled out of, they look like bull mastiffs, that's what they are. And so this was a bull mastiff puppy mill, and that's why they're so large, but you can see that the conditions are not that great. Those dogs are in there. Those are big dogs, and that's their life in the heat in Arizona. You know, we think it's hot here. Well,
Wow, and that water looks
it's really hot there.
terrible, and they're actually pretty lean.
Yeah, so you can see the water bowl overturned in the back. There's no water in the kennel. There was nobody there taking care of them, and there were some very sick dogs that were pulled out of there. But good news for the dogs, and you can see no water.
Yeah.
Water with algae. But good news for these dogs, and good news for the dogs in Montreal. And Scotland did a fabulous job going in. And he's not the only one in the country. I mean, Animal Rescue Corps is ARC, A-R-C, and it's animalrescuecorps.org. And people can go there and find out about Scotland's work. But Humane Society of the United States, I mentioned Scotland was with. We contribute to the Humane Society of the United States as well. We funded their new rescue bus that we talked about last week, and an entire puppy mill raid this year, a very large one of their bigger puppy mill raids. And Bandit says he's going to go out on one of these raids and save dogs himself because he's tired of me going and doing it.
Well, I got to tell you,
these
thank
guys.
goodness that you are, though. You know, and this, I didn't even know that the American Dog Rescue and yourself were part of the last one in Arizona. So that's amazing, and it takes a village. You know, everyone has to come together for the benefit of these animals, because if we don't do it, I mean, who's going to do it?
Well, we all know the name Bissell.
Yes,
and
yes.
They made a lot of money, and they're doing good for the animals now with that money with their pet foundation. So it's really appreciated. And then this weekend, under our other Foundation, the Arthur E. Benjamin Foundation, we're going out to work with other animals. We're going out to work with the Sea Shepherd Society, Whale Wars.
Yeah.
And we're going out to sponsor their event, the 35th anniversary of the Sea Shepherd Foundation. But Captain Paul Watson happens to be in jail over a 2002 political incident in Costa Rica, and he's in jail in Germany, so he can't even come to the event.
When did that
and
happen?
People like Pierce Brosnan are coming out, and lots of good Hollywood stars are coming. It's going to be in Malibu, and Bandit is going.
Oh, good. I got to tell you, Bandit is really stepping up.
He's getting around.
He's stepping up. You know, he appreciates the fact that he was rescued, and now he really is giving it back.
He can walk. He's in training as a service dog. He is just the king of, look at him. He's just, he looks tired there. I think I kept him up too late
He's
last
working
night.
very hard.
He is.
All of this work is hard.
Yep.
It's not easy for a dog out there.
No, and there's a movie opening tomorrow night.
Oh, that's right.
And the name offends some people, so I need to say that up front. And I don't think that it was meant to offend anyone, but the concept of the film is about what's going on in the critical moment for dogs and Americans, and it's called One Nation Under Dog. And it opens it's an HBO, special people will be able to see in the next few weeks. It'll be all over HBO.
Nice.
And it opens actually in one of the cities tomorrow night.
Well, and I heard that there's a chance you might have a part in that.
You know, somebody said I was in it with a dog, but I haven't seen it and nobody's told me, so it's a surprise.
Well, you have been known to hang around some dogs. Right,
well, let's not get into that personal part of my life.
You're so funny. Well, Arthur, thank you for doing that. And Bandit, thank you
thanks.
for
Thanks,
donating
boy.
today. That was really nice. And if you want to learn more about American Rescue Corps Initiative, visit our website at americandogrescue.org, and you can find out more information about it there. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
And don't hesitate to donate so Bandit can give your money away.
That's right. See you next week.